This first dive coming up is going to be Matt Akers from my alumni, Cleveland State University. He's going to be performing a front 2.5 somersaults in a pike position. Oh, that was a great start for Matt right there. He jumped up pretty nice and high there. He was able to finish the dive above the diving board. Right now we have Jordan starting the same exact dive as well. Let's see how he does. Wow, that kid jumps. You can tell he jumps quite a bit higher than Matt's. However, he was a little bit further out. So you see the score's a little bit lower than Matt's.
Patrick Tanner from IUPU.
Yep, Matt's going to be performing a pretty tough dive. It's going to be inward 2.5 tuck here. Oh, that was a great jump up. However, he went into the water with his feet apart. Now, sometimes judges don't catch that, though. Let's see. That's some pretty good scores. And you can see since that was a high DD dive, he got a lot on the award. Andrew here is competing a front 2.5 pike. Oh, he had some trouble on that dive, but he couldn't really get it to take off the way he wanted and spin. Kept his stuff together, and he got some reasonable scores there.
Michael Clem, he's up now.
Mike did another front 2.5 pike. You can see it went a little bit over, and he only got 6s on that. That dive, if he would have went straight up and down and got rid of that twist, he would have gotten a lot higher scores. We have this diver competing in inward 1.5 in the pike position. The DD is going to be 2.4. Wow, that was a nice diver, and this diver has really nice lines. And when I say lines, I mean he looks very, very nice and pretty in the air.
And he was well rewarded.
He was very well rewarded. Mitchell's performing the same exact dive. That's a lower D-rate difficulty. Let's see if he can do the same. Wow, I would say that's almost just as better, or just as good, if not a little bit better than the previous dive.
Wow.
Yep,
almost similar.
Yep, that's almost identical scores.
Almost identical. All right, this is Joe Smith from Oakland.
Wow, he just skied that dive, man, and just let it go a hair over, which is a shame, but he jumped so high in that.
My guess is he is absolutely pumped up for this competition. He looks like he's about ready to jump through the ceiling.
Absolutely, and all these guys they look like they're pretty amped up. Everyone's jumping pretty high right now and having a good meet so far. We have Matt performing a pretty tough back 2.5 somersaults in the tuck position. I know he had some trouble with this earlier. Let's see if he can nail it. Oh, he let that go slide by just a little bit too much. It was a great top and a great start. I think he just missed some of his visual spots on the bottom.
Such a technical event. Just off a little bit on your sight, and you takes you right out of it.
Absolutely. If you don't catch those visual cues, they can end up screwing you over. We just saw a huge front 3.5 from Jordan.
That could have been his best.
That was a nice dive. We have another front 2.5 somersaults pike position.
He got a little away from the board on that one.
Yeah, he pushed out a little bit too much, and believe it or not, he came out that dive a little bit too early, so he had to come back and pike back into that dive. That's the reason why you're seeing 6s instead of the 7s on the board.
These guys are so amped, and I think they just super into this event, and going a little strong here in the first few from Andrew.
Oh, that was not bad. It was a little bit slow on the spin, but he still came out and kicked at a good time. However, his feet were apart, so there were some deductions for that as well.
University of Wisconsin, Green Bay.
Back than the rest of the competition. Now, that's the tough thing. You know, if you don't hit those lower DD dives, you're going to be paying for it when it comes down to the total award. All right, this is going to be our first twisting dive of the meet. Sometimes these are the most fun to watch. We have this diver doing a back 1.5 with a 1.5 twist.
Wow.
Wow, that's a pretty nice dive. He could have jumped a little bit higher and probably could have spun it a little bit quicker so that way you can finish that above the board. Really line yourself up and for a good dive. Another front 2.5 pike. Mitchell let it fly over a little bit too much. This is a front 2.5 with 1 twist. This is a huge dive. Oh, he just killed that dive. That was fantastic. And that's such a high degree of difficulty dive to be doing on the low board. And you can see he was rewarded with 8s and 8.5s with a humongous dive for 75 points. That was awesome.
He finally put it together. That was a fantastic dive. Did you see who's standing next to you?
Oh, we have the infamous Wally Morton. Wally, you want to say hi?
Hi, all you fans out there.
Wally Morton. He's a legend of Cleveland State University swimming and diving.
He is the legend at CSU. We just saw a reverse 2.5 somersault tuck. That diver let that dive just slide by too much. He should have been out that a little bit earlier.
Let's see what Jordan can do this time. His last one was amazing.
Wow, Jordan just really, this guy just jumps through the roof. It's so impressive. Unfortunately, that dive slid through just a little bit too much. I don't think he saw his spot, so he got out a little bit late. That's why we're seeing some 5s there.
It's amazing.
Yep.
He really got up there.
We have another big dive coming up here. Patrick's doing a 3.5 somersaults in the tuck position. This is probably one of the hardest dives you can do on the 1 meter springboard. Wow, I'll tell you what, it didn't look very pretty in the air, but his sparks.
That's tough. That was a tough dive, though.
A very tough dive. Nice thing about this competition is we're seeing a lot of these divers throwing some very difficult dives right now.
Wow.
Oh, wow, that was a nice jump up, but you can see the divers didn't get his arms all the way through while he's on the board, so that caused him to spin very slow.
Michael's got a reverse 2.5 somersault in tuck position. Oh, almost.
Oh, if you would have taken those 2 previous dives and just merged them together, it would have been the perfect dive right there.
Oh, it's a tough dive. That was a tough one, though. That was the degree of difficulty 3.0.
Yep. Reverses are always some of the most difficult dives for divers because basically you're jumping out, but you're spinning towards this big 16-foot green monster. Everyone's always afraid of coming back and hitting the board.
Well, wow. That was a great dive.
This diver has fantastic lines. He looks so good in the air, and he's such a pretty diver.
There you go.
Good scores there. That actually was a pretty nice dive. He was a little bit heavy on the bottom. If he would have streached and put a better flat hand, he would have been able to rip that dive as well.
He squeaked in there.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was going to get it. He pulled it in there in the end.
They're going to make it, but they has to be slow so that we can
Joe
control
Smith again.
it. Oh, man. That was another pretty good front 3.5. I think his previous takeoff on that full out was better. That's why he had to kind of just work on getting out of that a little bit better.
Oh boy, this is an inward 2.5 somersault in the tuck position. Degree of difficulty.
Oh, that was a lot better than what he did in prelims this morning.
Here comes Jordan Smith. It's a back 1.5 somersault in the tuck position. Here we go.
It's a pretty nice dive. He let it slide through on the bottom. He should still see some pretty reasonable scores in that, though. Yep, 6.5s, and it looks like a 7 trickled in there as well. So we have another twisting dive. This is going to be a forward 1.5 somersaults with 2 twists. This also carries a degree of difficulty of 2.6. That takeoff was a little bit rough. If you couldn't tell, he was back a bit too much on the diving
That's exactly
board.
what I noticed. He was back, he must have been 9 inches or so away from the end of the board, but he still pulled it off.
Absolutely. A lot of times, what happens at the beginning of a dive is going to dictate what's going to happen at the end of the dive. Oh, that was actually a very nice dive. He held the bottom a hair shorter than what I would have wanted to see, but he should get rewarded here. And you can see he got
3 7s.
a whole bunch of 7s and a couple 6.5s.
He's awarded a 48.
Dive in comparison to the previous dive that we saw. Oh, that was a great dive right there. Michael should see some pretty nice scores from this.
He was awarded 60.45 on that.
Yep.
Got a 7 from judge number 7 there.
And he was right. That is the best back 1.5 pike that I've seen so far this meet.
Wow.
And you can see 8 trickled in there, and that's just about 7s across the board. That was a
Judge
fantastic
4 was
dive.
liking that one. He pulled in an 8.
Yep.
Wow. Well, let's see what Mitchell can do on this reverse 1.5 somersault. Was it a 1.5 twist?
Yep.
The free position. Degree of difficulty 2.6, and
oh, that was great. He just let it slide through on the bottom. I'm sure he's going to be a little bit upset about that, but that was a great dive.
I'm going to see some 7s. I knew it.
Yeah, that's great. We went straight up and down. He would have gotten 8s across the board.
54.6 is his award.
We have Joe doing another reverse 2.5 tuck. And this kid jumps so high. Oh, and he just powdered the bottom there. That was huge.
Oh my goodness.
That was awesome.
I cannot believe it. He got a 9 from Doug. Holy smokes.
That by far was the best dive of the meet. And he did it on a 3.0 DD dive.
Unbelievable. That was an incredible dive. That guy, my goodness, can that kid jump?
That was awesome. Matt's doing a reverse 1.5 somersaults with 1.5 twists.
Degree of difficulty 2.6. Here he goes.
Oh, that was a little bit rough. You saw him get a little bit nervous. He bent his toes. Oh, believe it or not, we found it nerve-wracking as well, man. It takes a lot of focus and a lot of concentration to make sure you're getting that whole entire dive done.
Here comes Jordan Smith.
That was a pretty nice dive. You can hear Jordan stomp on that board a little bit. That's why I made that loud noise. And
Still pulling in 3 7s.
Yeah, so still did pretty well with that dive. So we have Patrick opting to do one of the easier reverse dives in comparison.
He's going to have to nail this.
Absolutely.
Reverse 1.5.
That was actually a pretty nice looking dive.
His entry was solid. Several 6.5s. He was awarded a 38.85. All right, Patrick. Wow.
Oh yeah, he put that in. That was a very nice
That
dive.
was solid all the way through.
That was very nice. I would like to see him point his toes during the actual dive, but he ended up pointing his toes on the bottom, and he got rewarded with 6.5 and 7s there.
Wow. 62 is total award. Comes Michael Clem, University of Wisconsin Green Bay. Nice dive.
That was a nice dive there as well. He got straight up and down. That's a nice tight twist, and he was a reasonable distance from the board there.
Here he comes.
Christian's a very crisp and clean diver.
Wow.
It was very nice. He pulled a little bit too hard on the bottom, so you can see his feet went a little bit over, though. It's probably his coach that gave him the 7. We see Mitchell here doing a more difficult reverse twisting dive. This is a reverse 1.5 with 2.5 twists. Mitchell had a
got his feet
tough,
through.
Yep, he had a tough takeoff on the board. He actually needed to wait on the board a little bit longer.
Here comes Joe. Joe Smith, the back 2.5. Degree of difficulty, oh my goodness.
It was a nice dive. He finished it above the diving board, but he was a little bit heavy on the bottom. He didn't quite get that extension through his arms onto the water.
Still, rewarded with a 54.
Hey, he could have gotten higher scores, though.
Here comes Matt Akers.
Matt's doing another one of those more difficult reverse twister dives.
Wow.
That was a pretty good dive for Matt. I've seen him do it a bit better than that in practice before. And he ended up getting rewarded with 5.5s. Jordan actually started creeping out of that dive a little bit too early. That's why he held it just a hair short. People have waited and kicked later. He would have been straight up and down and gotten higher scores.
It looks like Jordan's just been so close to absolutely killing these dives. He seems just maybe a little bit too amped, a little too strong for some of his dives.
Yes,
he's still in first place.
Oh, that was a strong kick from Patrick. However, he started falling off the board. That's part of the reason why he ended up too far away.
That's tough. That was a tough dive. Back 2.5.
I think back 2.5 for me when I was diving was probably the most difficult dive for me personally.
Oh, here's a back 1.5.
Andrew actually did that dive really well. That was
I think he is going to be well rewarded on this one. Okay. I thought it'd be a little bit more, but he got a 48.75. What did I miss?
He fell off the board just a little bit too much.
Okay.
You can see he's a little bit further out than where the judges want to see him at.
I see it, okay.
He brings that in about a foot and a half. He's going to get paid on that dive.
From my vantage, I thought that was a good one. Here we go. Michael Clem.
That was a nice reverse 2.5 twister.
Tough dive, 3.0 and the degree of difficulty. All right.
He came off the board twisting just a hair earlier. If he would have waited to twist on that dive, he would have gotten a little bit more height out of the diving board. Christian did a really nice 4-1 somersaults with 2 twists. His twists were a little bit wobbly though. He still ended up getting very nice scores on that though.
Judge 4 and Judge 7 both gave him a 7.5.
Yeah, Christian.
All right, see what Mitchell can do.
Oh, he just kicked just a hair too high. If he would have kicked out earlier, that would have been straight up and down for big scores.
That reverse 2.5 is tough to pull off.
A lot of these guys are competing these 2.5 somersault dives, which are some of the same things that you're going to be seeing them competing on high board as well. The only difference is on high board, you have 3 more meters to fall down from.
Tough dive here. Wow.
Oh, Joe did a really nice job with inward 2.5. That was fantastic.
That could have been his strongest, my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Yep.
Judge 6 gave him an 8.5.
Yep, he got well paid on that dive. And that was the last dive of the meet.